quiet stretch of farmland outside the small town of Damascus, Arkansas. From the surface, there was little to see: a fenced compound, a concrete door set into the ground, a few security lights cutting through the evening air. But beneath that patch of Arkansas soil was one of the most powerful weapons ever deployed on American territory. More than 100 feet underground, inside a reinforced launch silo, stood a Titan II, intercontinental ballistic missile, fully fueled, fully armed, on constant alert. At its tip sat a W-53 thermonuclear warhead, yield approximately 9 megatons, hundreds of times more powerful than the bomb dropped on Hiroshima. And on that night, the safety of that weapon would depend on something unexpectedly fragile: a maintenance procedure and a single tool. The Titan II was part of the United States Strategic Air Command. Nuclear deterrent, each missile stood roughly 110 feet tall, 2 stages, liquid-fueled, capable of crossing continents in less than 30 minutes. Unlike many later missile systems, Titan II missiles were not stored empty. They remained fueled. At all times, inside their tanks were 2 volatile propellants: kerosene 50 fuel and dinitrogen tetroxide oxidizer. These chemicals are known as hypergolic propellants. When they meet, they ignite instantly. No spark, no ignition system, no second chance. If fuel and oxidizer mix unintentionally, the result is immediate combustion. And in the confined space of a missile silo, that combustion becomes an explosion. On the evening of September 18th, a propellant transfer system team arrived at Launch Complex 3747. Their assignment sounded routine: check pressure levels in the oxidizer system, a normal maintenance task performed many times before. 2 technicians rode the elevator down into the silo, descending nearly 80 feet below ground. Steel service platforms circled the missile body at different levels. From these platforms, crews could inspect valves, gauges, and tank fittings. But Titan II maintenance had strict rules. Tools were carefully selected to prevent accidents. That night, one technician brought the wrong wrench. Instead of a torque wrench equipped with a safety retainer, he carried a large ratchet with a heavy socket attached, nearly 8 pounds of solid steel. While working beside the missile's oxidizer tank, the tool slipped. The socket fell from his hand. It struck a platform, bounced, and continued falling straight toward the missiles. First stage fuel tank. The Titan II's outer skin was made of aluminum alloy, strong enough to contain pressurized fuel, but only a few millimeters thick. The falling socket struck the tank wall and punched straight through. At first, nothing exploded. There was no fire, no dramatic flash, just a puncture. Inside the tank were thousands of gallons of kerosene 50. The fuel began leaking immediately. Pressurized liquid sprayed briefly from the hole before gravity took over. The chemical flowed downward through the silo, pooling at the bottom. Kerosene 50 vapors are heavier than air. Instead of rising, the toxic gas spread along the silo floor, slowly climbing upward. Sensors detected the leak. Alarm sounded. Pressure gauges began to drop. As the tank emptied, a more serious problem appeared. The Titan II missile relied on internal fuel pressure to maintain structural strength. Without that pressure, the tank walls could collapse. If the first stage failed, the oxidizer tank above it could rupture, and if oxidizer mixed with the leaking fuel, hypergolic ignition would occur. Inside, a sealed concrete cylinder, emergency procedures began. Personnel evacuated the silo. Command authorities were notified, but the missile remained fueled, armed and unstable. For hours, the leaking tank continued to weaken. Shortly after 3 o'clock in the morning, that the structure finally failed. The first stage tank collapsed. The missile shifted inside the silo. The oxidizer tank above it ruptured. Fuel and oxidizer mixed, and the hypergolic reaction occurred instantly. A violent explosion erupted inside the silo. Not nuclear, but powerful enough to destroy the entire launch complex. The blast tore the Titan II apart. The shockwaves surged upward through the silo shaft, and the massive concrete blast door, weighing more than 700 tons, was thrown aside. The missile disintegrated in the explosion. The second stage was blasted clear of the silo, and the W-53 nuclear warhead was thrown from the launch complex. It landed in a ditch roughly 100 feet away. Miraculously, the warhead did not detonate. Modern nuclear weapons contain multiple safety systems, environmental sensors, arming sequences, safing mechanisms, designed to prevent accidental detonation. Without the precise launch signals from a command center, the weapon could not initiate a nuclear explosion. Even so, the accident was devastating. Senior Airman David Livingston was killed. More than 20 other personnel were injured. By morning, the Damascus launch complex was destroyed. Twisted steel, shattered concrete, a crater where a nuclear missile once stood ready. Investigators later concluded that the chain of events began with a single mistake, a dropped socket wrench. During the Cold War, the world often feared nuclear war would begin with a missile launch. In Damascus, Arkansas, catastrophe almost came from something far smaller, 8 pounds of steel falling through the silence of a missile silo and striking aluminum only millimeters thick.